What's up, everybody? It's Tate Steinlage from Killzone. We are ushered into next-gen gameplay. It's PlayStation 4 week, Xbox One's about ready to get its week. As I've said in a couple other videos, it's an exciting time to be a gamer. To be here at Killzone, we're just pumped to bring you this content. We've been trying to bring you some of the lesser-known titles to really give them the coverage that they deserve, especially these free-to-play titles that you may overlook. However, it is time to talk about one of the big retail games, and that is Killzone Shadow Fall. You've heard a lot about it. It's one of the games that Sony has really been pushing as the prettiest game on the lineup, and it really is a gorgeous game. That's the first and the biggest thing that you can't really overlook. It is extremely beautiful. It is literally one of the best looking games I have seen ever, and that's a testament to one, how the machine can really provide those graphics and that rendering, and it's just great. And one of the biggest things that you're really going to see is whenever it shows the big cities. And you can just see the level of details, whether that's in a window, in a tower that's maybe like dozens of meters away in the game. Like, you can really just see that detail that you may not have ever been able to see in some games, like on the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. You can see it blurred out. You can see these full textures. You can see the faces and how they animate. And one thing that I really appreciate about the game is the lip features, that you can actually see what people are saying and it doesn't just look wonky. I mentioned it in 2K14 to some of my friends, and in 2K14 they try to lip it and sometimes it just looks atrocious. But this is next gen and it really does have that vibe. However, the story, one of the issues that I had with it early on, and what you'll probably see in your gameplay, is that it tries to be too emotional too early on. I won't spoil it, but there's a moment early on in the game where you kind of feel it, but it really doesn't get to its full extent. Sometimes to be as emotional as games are trying to be, they kind of have to be mysterious. And this game really does lay out the story in front of you, and it lays out what's going on, and so you really just don't care as much at the beginning. And you've heard it in some of the reviews, it's kind of a watered down story. It does provide all that stuff that you would expect in a retail game, and it really does have some great moments and some new moments in the Killzone series, but overall it's just kind of iffy from what I played early on, and sometimes it even comes across as cheesy, which is kind of unfortunate because it really is a game that tries to pull you in a bunch of different directions. Now on to multiplayer. Like I said, I haven't had a ton of time, so we've been checking out all these games for you guys. And multiplayer, I've enjoyed it. I've had some fun with it. However, it does feel a little bit chunky and slow at times. And I know there's ways to speed that up, and you can play, and you can fool around with the gadgets and stuff. However, it just does feel a little bit too, like I said, chunky. It just feels like I'm just running around in mud sometimes, and I'm trying to shoot guys. And onto that, sometimes it feels like I'm putting a load and a half of my clip size into them, and my bullets are going into them, I'm hitting them, and I'm just never killing them. And I mentioned that in Blacklight Retribution, that in that you really have a satisfying, where you shoot a guy, you really do get that satisfying conclusion really fast, so you feel like, yeah, I did shoot this guy. In Killzone, I feel like I unloaded an entire clip into a guy, and he's not dead, and I get shot and I die instantaneously, and there's just that frustration. However, I can see where people are latching onto this multiplayer. It's pretty, it's fun to play, and it just has some issues that I think holds it back from really being a really great game that complements the graphics of Killzone Shadow Fall. Like I said, this is a game that you should check out. It is the prettiest game on the PlayStation 4. Arguably, for me, it definitely is. But it's a fun game when it works. There's some issues with it, like all games. However, it is a solid game that you should check out. And with that, we ask you to check out all of our stuff going on Killzone right now. We have some next-gen content, whether that's from the PlayStation 4 and these first impressions, or Xbox One coming up. We'll have a load of first impressions for them, some unboxings to check out in the future, and especially as we go into 2014 and really be immersed into what next-gen gameplay has to say. So until next time, I'm Tate Steinlage from Killzone. Have a good time.